It's finally cold enough for apple cider. It's hot. Oh hey WordNerds, happy Friday. Do you like my mug? Thanks, NaNoWriMo. It's almost November, but right now it's October. Today is October 2nd, 2015. It's a Friday, you know this. Can you believe we're already in October? I am so ready for October. Don't spill the cider. Come on. Today on Inspiration Corner, I'm going to be talking to you about something that's been inspiring me lately, and I'm not going to choose the expected route, which is October, because I've done videos on that before, how fall is inspiring to me, that October is just the best month ever in the history of months. Just saying. Hot and delicious. No, today I'm gonna tell you that podcasts are so inspiring. You may know this. You may be listening to podcasts. If you're not, get on it. They're free. I think they're all free. There are probably some you have to pay for, but the ones I'm listening to that are fantastic are all free. Specifically, I've been listening to a few podcasts on shuffle. The podcasts themselves aren't on shuffle, I just keep going between a few different podcasts. I find it so inspiring to listen to other creators talk about things that they are passionate about. So I've been listening to Grace Helbig's podcast, Not Too Deep, where she interviews other YouTubers and asks them just a bunch of random crazy questions. One of my favorite questions is, if you could throw cold spaghetti in anybody's face, who would it be and why? Because you're not gonna hurt them by throwing cold spaghetti, but it definitely sends a message. Yum, 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 yum. Not Too Deep is a great way to just laugh, and I love it for that. They're usually between 30 minutes to an hour, give or take, depending on the guest, and it's Grace Helbig, so why not? Another one of my favorite podcasts that I've been listening to is from Rhett Link, and it's called Ear Biscuits, which is not only just the most remarkable name for her podcast ever, because it makes me think of ears farting, like air biscuits, but ear biscuits, is that immature? Yes, who cares? I've got hot cider. On Ear Biscuits, they talk to, again, other creators, content creators, primarily from YouTube, and they get really into their life and how they grew up and what led them to do what they're doing now. Now, most of these people are, like I said, YouTubers, but I kind of start thinking about my own life and how things that have happened in my past or how I grew up has led me to where I am now. On YouTube, writing books, doing the things that I'm doing and calling jobs. Like, how'd I get here? I don't know, but Ear Biscuits is making me think about it. Cider! Another podcast that I've been really loving that is less inspiring as in talking to other creators and inspiring in that artistic way, was Serial, which you probably heard of. I'm very late to the train, but whoa, what a train it is. Serial is a long, basically investigative journalistic piece about a crime that was committed in Baltimore, the murder of a young high school girl. The narrator of the podcast goes back and looks at all of the pieces of evidence to this case, the leads, what was left behind. I don't know, there's no conclusion at the end, really, which was a little bit disappointing. I was really hoping to be we found this evidence that firmly made it like this. But, I'm a huge fan of studying. This is gonna make me sound nerdy, but I like studying criminal cases. I think there's really interesting psychology there, and just the whole legal system I find fascinating, and also kind of sad and scary at times, but fascinating. So I loved listening to that. Those were 12 episodes, and I got through those in 2 days. It's still hot! And finally, my friend just turned me on to this new podcast called Another Round. It's from Buzzfeed. Buzzfeed, I love you, Buzzfeed. I love you so much. It's between these two women probably, I don't know their actual age, but I'd guess mid-20s, give or take. And they basically just tell stories, and they talk about race, they talk about gender, they talk about current events, they talk about entertainment, media, pop culture things. One of my favorite segments is So What Happened Was, and basically they tell a story. Now, I'm only on the second episode, but they've already featured some articles from some really awesome people. Not gonna burp. One of them was an article about if white characters were described the same way characters of color were. I am gonna burp, apparently. And not only was it really funny, just the descriptions of her reading out loud how white characters would be described if they were described the same way, unfortunately, that characters of color are. That was hilarious, also upsetting. It was upsetting because you start to think, like, why are authors and writers describing characters of color in these weird food-related terms, which I think we've talked about this here on WordNerds. Don't do that. What are you doing? But it was also just like, it was funny and it was informative and I love it. So those are my recommendations for podcasts if you are looking for something to listen to. Treat your ears to some inspiration. The first one I named was Not Too Deep by Grace Helbig. Second was Ear Biscuits with Rhett Link. Third was Cereal. That'll be the first thing that pops up if you Google it. And then the fourth one was called Another Round from Buzzfeed. They are all spectacular. They've been inspiring me. God, I wish that I could write, read, work, and listen to music and podcasts all at the same time, because now I'm choosing, like, do I want to read this book right now or do I want to listen to a podcast? And both. This weekend, the hurricane is headed up the shore, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make Sunday's chat. Depends on the route that the hurricane takes. But make sure that you make it, if you can, to our live chat this Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not sure what the chat is about. We'll figure it out together. Until then, I love you, nerds. I'll see you Sunday. Go grab some cider. Bink!